Danny Flexen here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by Ryan Walsh, former British champion and perhaps soon to be again British champion, looking at the latest round of board orders. And seems a good place to start as any. You were originally nominated to fight the then British champion, James Tennyson. He's now vacated, as I believe you predicted last time we spoke. I think he might have a world title eliminator in the offing, we've been told, although we can't say too much about it yet, I don't think. But that leaves you now nominated to fight co-challenger Paul Hyland Jr. for the vacant title. How do you feel about the change in opposition?
I'm fine with it, Danny. I'd obviously preferred to fight James because he's a much bigger name, and he's on a good roll. I'd get a lot more props for beating James than I would for Paul. Although style-wise, they're very similar. They're stable mates, and I've watched quite a bit of Paul now, obviously, since this news has come, and I obviously know James. And so yeah, I'd rather have fought James, but I'm not underestimating Paul whatsoever because, like I said, I've watched a few of his fights. He's only lost to two decent fighters, and he lost to Ritz when Ritz was at the peak of his powers, and that was all over a bit fast. And you can't really take too much out of that, really, I don't think. And Patera, he gave it a right go. He went over to, I think he fought him in Belgium as well, didn't he, Patera? Was it in Belgium?
I think
yeah, so. Or it might have been in Italy, maybe. Or so he fought in the way. Yeah, away from home, yeah. And give it a really good go, and eventually just got done. But Patera's a decent fighter, so it's going to be a good fight. I'm really looking forward to it because originally I was, when I realised James weren't going to fight, and it's not that James wouldn't fight because James has proved time and time again he'll go to other people's backyard and fight. You know, he's been in the away corner on numerous occasions and fought hard and won. So I don't think for 1 second James wouldn't fight me. I don't think that's the case at all. He hit his management, Mark Dunlop and obviously Eddie. They're doing what's best for Mark. Why take a high risk fight against me for a British title when they can get him a bigger opportunity and put him in? I understand the business. I understand. So I've got nothing against James whatsoever. Hopefully, if I can get myself in a good position somewhere down the line, we might be able to fight for something a lot bigger, which would be nice. But if not, then no worries. It's definitely not personal with me. It never has been. I just want to fight the best challengers, and he has my respect, and he's one of the best lightweights out there at the minute in the UK. So that's only the reason I wanted to fight him. But I obviously wish him all the best as well if he is going getting something bigger, an eliminator in some case. When I'll be supporting him. So yeah, we've now got Paul Hyland to concentrate on, and like I say, he's got my utmost respect and my attention, and I'll be preparing as always to my absolute best, and I'll come ready definitely.
The fight's only just been ordered, of course, but have there been any talks that you're aware of yet? Do you know if it's likely to go to purse bids or if a deal could be reached before that?
I haven't heard anything just yet. I haven't spoke to anybody just yet, so I can't really comment on that side of it. I don't know what who'll pick it up. I don't know what'll happen with it. I still don't know if the fight will happen, but I assume it will. I hope it does. It's a British title fight, like you said at the start there. I'll be a two-time British champion. That's got a nice little ring to it. And yeah, I obviously came in this sport to be a world champion, but I still haven't given up hope on that dream. It gets further and further away as each year goes by, obviously, but you never know. Stranger things have happened than me becoming a world champion, and you don't know. You got one fight at a time, obviously, but if I can beat Paul in good fashion, something else might pop up, and then you don't know. I'm in the top 10 in the WBO, so at any point, all of a sudden, you might just get brought in as a late replacement or something like that. I'm always ready. So yeah. So I've always got hope, and we'll see what happens.
Well, also more belts could be up for grabs soon, as we now have a 3 or 4 belt, depending on how you look at it, world champion in Teofimo Lopez after his excellent performance at the weekend.
How good was he? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about that in a second anyway, but he's now talking about going straight up to 140 and leaving those belts behind. So surely that'll open up more opportunities for fighters like yourself who are in governing body top 10s.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's, I think one of the main keys in fighters and young fighters, if anyone's listening to this, I shouldn't imagine there'll be many listening to it, Dan. I don't get that much.
Write it off.
Yeah. No, but more me than you, I think, Matt. I'm about as exciting as fucking. But anyway, if there is, being persistent is so big in this sport. My brother Ryan has been more persistent than anyone I've ever seen in this sport. He has really had to, battle and people laugh at that and think, oh, he's never sold tickets, he's never done it. He's been on a big shows from the off, but that ain't really the case. He's always, but yeah, you just got to be really persistent and never give in, and just constant persistence and consistency is the key, I think.
What did you make of Lopez's performance on Saturday?
Brilliant.
And did you think he had a good chance beforehand?
Not really. I couldn't see anyone in the world up to lightweight beating Lomachenko. I just thought he looked unbeatable. Up to lightweight, I thought if he went up to 10 stone, I thought he'd struggle. And in hindsight now, I should have given him more of a chance, because you look at, he struggled with Pedraza lightweight, he struggled with Linares a little bit at lightweight, he struggled with Luke Campbell at all his lightweight fights he got asked questions in all of them fights, and in hindsight now, and also you got to ask the question. I think Teofimo's dad asked this question: how many young, hungry, unbeaten fighters has he actually fought? And don't think for a second I'm trying to discredit his CV here, because he's a modern day great for me, and he will still go down as a great. And he'll bounce back from this situation, I think. And if he goes back down to super feather maybe, or even feather, I don't know if he can still do feather, but he'll still beat, and even at lightweight, he'll still beat the majority of people. He could still beat Teofimo. Teofimo won't beat him 10 times out of 10. He just performed brilliantly on the night, and it was refreshing to watch a young kid with loads of balls, and willing to fight people and wanting to fight people. It was really good to see. I'm buzzing for it. I'm a big fan of Teofimo now, because he backed up everything he said. And he weren't offensive or anything like that in the build-up. He was confident, and it was nice to see. And the way he boxed, you just got to tip your hat to him and say, fucking well done.
Does it make you kind of even more ambitious, even more envious, if you like, when you watch a big event like that? I know there were many fans in attendance for obvious reasons, but it was still a mega event for the year, and it's in your weight division as well.
Yeah, it excites me when you see that they are that they're the elite in this weight class. They're not world class, they're elite, if you ask me. And there's I think there's a difference between world class and elite, and there's a handful of fighters in the world. And I think Lopez beating Lomachenko like that and telling everybody he'd beat him like that and knocking Commey out as well, that wasn't no joke. That was a statement as well. I think he's in the elite category, and I really want him to go on and he's asking for Haney straight away. That's commendable, because Haney's a real fighter. And I think that, what I've noticed in Lopez and Devin Haney is their self-belief, their confidence is, and their focus is on another level to your average world champions. That they're past that. Psychologically, I can see it in them. But yeah, I like Lopez. I'm a fan, and yeah, it gets me excited. But you buzz for it. You think, Jesus, that's where you got to get to. Obviously, it's a big ask now. I'm 34 years old. 22. I'm not far off being old enough to be his dad almost. But so I'm not.
Only
I'm
if you
not
started
gonna
banging him out at what, 11 years old? I mean,
a couple of years after that, not too much, not too many years after.
I think your childbearing, well, not childbearing days, but your child producing days may be over now. I don't know. That's obviously your decision. But you've got a house full.
Yeah, I hope so, because my wife will be unhappy if not, because she's had that job done, whatever they have done so that she can.
Yeah, so if you had another one,
I'd be in trouble. Yeah.
Yeah. You've been in, obviously, with someone else who many people consider elite in Gervonta Davis. His next fight is going to be still down at super featherweight, but he's expected long-term or short-term to go up to lightweight. What sort of chance do you give him against Lopez and Lomachenko?
Originally, I didn't give him much against Lomachenko, and I probably still don't, because styles do make fights. I know everyone goes, "Oh, it's the worst saying in boxing," all this, but maybe I could say it better than just the usual styles make fights. But I don't know, there's certain styles that suit certain fighters and so forth. You know the game anyway, Dan. But I think stylistically, watching that the other night, though, you've got to look at that and think, well, what did Loma do? What did Lopez do that Tank couldn't? In terms of front foot pressure, and he didn't throw tons of punches at him. He weren't like a high work rate. It was just that front foot pressure and then reactions. And every time Loma didn't throw too many, but I was confused. But I rung my mate. Well, in round 3, I stayed up and watched it and what have you. And I put on our group. We've got this little box app group, and I put my thoughts on there. And I was just saying, like, I'm confused to what Loma's game plan is or to what's going on here. But his chances against Lopez. That's just a cracking fight, isn't it? It's a mega good fight. You've got to give Gervonta a chance with anybody up to 35, up to 135. You have to, because he can punch and his speed is immense. Do I think he'd beat Lopez right now? I think it's a bit of a shootout. I think that'd be. I don't expect we're going to see them fights anytime soon, unfortunately. But it'd be nice to see him. Lopez seems game to fight anyone. He stepped up to the plate and fought Lomachenko. He's now asking for Devin Haney, so I tip my hat to him. I'm a fan. Gervonta v. him's a good fight. Gervonta v. who else against Loma's a good fight, but I don't think we're going to see him. And I think when you get to that level, where that sort of elite level, I think Gervonta's still got a couple of, Gervonta for me he's still got to prove he's in the elite class. He's got elite attributes, his speed and things like that, his power. They're definitely elite, but I think he's still got somewhere. His best wins Pedraza. And then after that, obviously, he fought myself, but he ain't going to get loads of credit for that. He's got to have a few good wins to put himself in that category, I think. But I'd give him a chance against anybody. But right now, I'd favour Lomachenko to beat him. And Lopez holds his feet a lot more. He's there to be hit, but he's also there to hit you. So that would be a real shootout. But yeah. I obviously want Gervonta to do well. I've got nothing. Yeah, like I said a minute ago with James, there's nothing personal with any fighter in my eyes. I'd love to see him go on to win multiple world titles and multiple weights, and I'm always hoping he does really well. But that's all down to him. I think it'll all be down to how he lives in his lifestyle and if he can hold it all together.
Now, there was another show on Saturday night, this one taking place in Peterborough. You probably would have been there if it wasn't for the COVID restrictions, because it's not that far from you. I presume you saw the Lewis Ritz and Miguel Vasquez main event and the controversy that followed not long after. What did you make of the fight and the decision?
I thought Vasquez won the fight. I'm not going to jump on the bandwagon and say, he got absolutely robbed and all that, because if I'm honest, I didn't sit there and score it round by round. So I'm sort of talking to my brother watching the fight, and my general consensus was that Vasquez was winning the rounds. Obviously, Ritson was trying hard, but when the fight finished, my feeling was, well, he's won the round. But that could be because I'm sat there listening to the commentary, talking to my brother, glancing at it, talking to me. But I didn't watch it intently. Too many people jump on the bandwagon and say, right, the commentator said it, so that means it's a robbery. But really, if you want to score a fight, you must turn the volume off, and you must sit there on your own and concentrate and score it round by round, 10-9, 10-8, wherever it be. You can't just watch it and go, I think he won the fight. It doesn't work like that. So whether or not it was really, really bad decision, I don't really know. I mean, I felt that Vasquez should have won it, but if I had to, I'd go back and watch it with no volume and pull it apart how I thought. But yeah, my general feeling was Vasquez was very unlucky not to get the nod. But I the same with Ahara. I was there that night, and yet again, I weren't scoring it round by round, but I felt he was unlucky in that fight as well. But
talking about being unlucky, your twin brother Ryan may be the most unlucky boxer in Britain. Latest bout of misfortune saw his golden contract final scuppered, or at least postponed at short notice, when Jazza Dickens and co-trainer Derry Matthews tested positive for COVID-19 in fight week. He must have been devastated. The fight's been rescheduled now, of course, but just give us an idea of how he's getting on.
He's fine now. He's saying he's spot on. He's really, really back on it, cracking on again. he was. It's funny. It's not funny, but he was in such good. He woke up 2 ounces over the weight on the morning of the weigh-in, and yourself and fighters. They get up and they have to do what they have to do to get the weight off and things. He's never woke up 2 ounces over the weight. It was almost like it was a wind up. It just like, this can't be right.
Fix the scales,
yeah. He didn't have to go to the
trick, wouldn't it?
Yeah, he didn't have to go. Like when he got the call, obviously off MTK, he was like, you jog. He was like, we just couldn't believe it. It was devastating but Ryan's positive, and we are positive, and we stay positive. So the work weren't lost. Dan?
Yeah, I'm still here. Don't worry.
Sorry, mate. It just flicked off on mine. The work isn't lost. It's just stored energy, and so we now took it into going again, and he had a little. I think we had about 4. We didn't have any days off actually. We had 4 or 5 days where we didn't punch in the gym, but we ran pretty much every day. So he's just carried on rolling, which seems to be the story of his year really, because obviously he fought in February, and then we was looking at, I think June was the set date. So he had 3-4 days off, still went running, and then we went rolling from there, and we haven't stopped. We've been training all year, so he'll be more than ready in December, and it looks a good fight. I'm excited for that one.
Wouldn't it be great if they could get your British title fight on the same show?
Yeah, that'd be brilliant. I hadn't even spoke to MTK as of yet, but that's maybe an avenue we can go down. I don't know if it's possible or not.
I suggested it, so it was your idea. And they might do it. You never know.
Yeah, it would be good, but I'd also like it to be after, in a way, because I want Ryan to have his own limelight, his own shine that night. And sometimes when you're both on the same night, when we were younger and it was 6 rounders and 8 rounders and stuff, even if there was just me fighting for a Commonwealth and Ryan doing an 8 rounder, it was more doable. But as the fights have got bigger, it has become harder. And obviously we've only 2 in the corners as well, where we've had sort of Manuel and Graham both there. So we've had, one can take one can take the other sort of thing. We wouldn't have the luxury of that this time, so it would be difficult. So if I had my choice, I would go after Ryan. But if that was the date they wanted to do it on, then yeah, I'd be more than willing. But Ryan would have priority out of everything in that, because he's the priority at the minute.
That's very good of you. Just before I let you go, I want to mention your other brother, of course, Michael. We saw him come back after a long time out, still unbeaten, which is pretty cool. What's the plan for him? Is he going to fight regularly now, or is it just to scratch the itch? What's going on?
I could tell you now that he's now coming back because he really wants the British title, which is true. But then tomorrow he could decide, actually, nah, stuff it, I'm done with it. And then on Wednesday he could decide he wants to be a world champion. And on Thursday, that could all change again, and he's never boxing again. So I don't want to give you any wrong information. No, Michael really, really, really wanted to win a British title. That's all he ever set out to do. He never wanted to do anything else. And when they've stripped Ryan recently, Michael rung up Robert Smith straight away. Personally, managed to get his number and ring him. And I don't think Robert appreciated that phone call, because Michael's got funny ways of putting things, but. He had some points. What he was saying. He was saying, well, how am I not even considered? And to see Jordan Gill now pull himself out of the purse bids or the position is sickening to see, because they've stripped Ryan of a title. Ryan's fight falls through. Jordan Gill pulls out of purse bids, and you're just thinking, what is going on here? Michael's not eligible to fight for it, even though he beat Sean Davis in a round, and yet. What's your man called? Reece Mould beat Sean Davis, and that was his eliminator, so to speak. But Michael ain't considered. I don't know what he sort of has to do to get himself into a position. He's been told activity and to beat some people, and the reason he fought Sean Davis is because he thought that was a reasonable. If it was good enough for Mould, then it's good enough for me. Yeah. And that weren't the case when he spoke to the board. So. I don't know if Michael will fight anymore. I can't tell you if he will. I'd like to see him get a British title fight, because he'd be content with that. He'd be happy. But yourself, there's politics in the sport, and you got to get position. You got to be given a chance. You got to be given an opportunity. You don't seem to be given one.
I'd love to hear a recording of that phone conversation between Ryan and between Michael and Robert Smith.
I wasn't there when he rung him. He just went, "No ringing him," and I was like trying my best to tell him not to because he was spitting feathers. And then about half hour later, I've spoke to him, and then the rest is it. Yeah, he's. Great I don't know. Yeah, it's funny.
Well, really appreciate your time. It's always good to catch up with you, and I look forward to a date being announced for the fight between you and Paul Hyland Jr. for the British title. As soon as that happens, maybe we should have another catch up and see what's going on.
Definitely. Yeah, I appreciate it, Danny. Thank you for always giving us a nod and keeping us all relevant. All the you people are as important as us, because without without yous, mate, none of us are not even nearly relevant, are we? So thank you, and thank you to everyone who's sort of half keeping faith in myself and looking forward to me fight and supporting it. Because again, without the fans and the people supporting you, there wouldn't have been no boxers, would there? So, thank you all, and don't get corona. Personally, I want to stay safe, because that pisses me off when everyone's. I've never been in what is it? I don't know what the word is. Not a groupie, but when someone says something, then everyone has to say it. I'm more of a trendsetter.
Like sheep.
Yeah, I'm a trendsetter. I can't, so I will not say stay safe to anybody, because just look after yourself. I don't know. Yep, hope everyone's in good health. I've run on now. Cut me off quick.
Mute. It's really good to do that, and I'll speak to you soon. Good to see you, mate. Take care.
Cheers, mate. You too. Thank you. Bye.